changes to how elections are run in the state.
This whole thing is a farce. It's all designed to just keep the fraud machine going down in Georgia, but it's not working. And so hopefully we'll get at least 2 more observers on this fake monitoring team. Anybody that will actually have some independence, because all these people are totally biased. They have no interest in actually having a free and fair vote because they all were involved in 2020.
Yeah, so there we go, Georgia.
But why would, I mean, okay, let's just maybe try on
Would it not have been reasonable for them to just adjust because of Hurricane Helene?
Exactly. So why don't we just maybe play on the most reasonable level? There are other states that have decided, okay, we're being affected by the cyclone, by the hurricane, so what we're going to do is we're just going to extend at least by a few days to allow people to register. Why would you not see the reason to allow for registration unless you don't actually want to hear the will or to see the will of the people in that particular region?
I say that there is a deliberate plan to foil an election.
Yeah.
The way you would know an election.
Yeah.
Well, you was actually saying maybe they might actually try to rig and do ballot harvesting. But if you look at some of the things that they've actually deployed, remember it was assassination first. This is America. They don't usually just go in that kind of regalia. They essentially would take you to the ballot and do the Bush Al Gore thing. The electoral college is there to support them when they want to actually do their digital part of it is also there to support whoever you want to actually rig in favor of. But right now you can see that the cards are being stacked differently. So the assassination failed. And all of a sudden we had some cases that were about to happen. The court cases failed. Now we have Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene that also failed. So it was supposed to actually undo the idea of mail-in ballots or even an election itself. Because remember, there is also a clause where they're trying to actually go towards an emergency government of some sort. So imagine if they could do what Zelensky did. We're at war or we have an emergency situation of some sort at all. And on the basis of that, we have suspended the powers of Congress, which obviously over time was being eroded. And hence you would actually find out somebody would just ignore a natural disaster that affected the post office, it affected the ATMs, it affected anywhere else we could actually get.
It's all in the open. It's not like it's news. It's a natural disaster, they say, right?
Yeah.
So because it's a natural disaster, why then not accommodate that? You can really see the whole agenda behind it. And I think that is the saddest part. It's really us in the clear.
Think about it like you're not gerrymandering the districts, you're just gerrymandering the votes.
No, come on. Okay, so what happens to those voters?
Isn't that what
Is it a
happens?
swing state?
That's what happened during gerrymandering, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So this time, I'm explaining what they're doing. I'm not advocating it.
It's really bad.
They are just gerrymandering the votes. But I've advised that if they can hear, the Republicans should stop being the protesting party. Get your industry in place.
Yeah.
Remember, in Arizona, people can actually vote without
IDs.
So why are they stopping people in Georgia? Just vote. You didn't register, still vote. Isn't that what happened is it Fulton County?
Yeah, Fulton County.
That is the heartland of Atlanta. Isn't that what happened? Years later, they're telling us now they couldn't timestamp the votes. So why are you feeling withheld? Because you didn't register. Just do exactly what those people did. They're going to do it. We know. They didn't bring all these millions across the border for them not to vote.
Honestly, they really need to make a decision.
Get your industry together. If the other guys are going to look for votes, you go to your district and look for votes. And peradventure, these ones that are legit citizens that couldn't register would vote.
Yeah.
So, for long, it looks like the good guys want to sing Kumbaya and wait for the stars to align before righteousness.
This is not the time. They need action. Let me tell you.
Roll
Do you
your
know how
sleeves up
crucial
and get busy.
this election is?
I concur with you. This is the year of redemption. You redeem your vouchers the right way.
Take it by force, by
You
fire.
take it by
because
force.
We don't want to imagine another election that comes and we say, oh no, we know that they stole the votes. That's not what we want to hear. You know,
Protester, no.
we need to fight for it. Okay, they need to fight for it. Now I'm speaking like a Republican. They need to fight for it.
Yeah.
They really need to fight for it.
America
has to fight for this election.
It's just beyond election. It gets to many things in life. You know, we're used to seeing movies. Once again, these are movies where the good guy just sits home and just stays there waiting for good to happen. Then the bad guy runs the whole show and eventually loses. Then people start knowing that it doesn't really happen in the real life.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me tell you though, why do I get a feeling? Listen to
Yeah.
this. Well, I'm literally writing a movie here.
Okay,
Why do
let's
I
hear it.
get a feeling that something is just going to drastically change? I mean, we've got the 31st of October where we're going to be praying. We are praying. We
Yes.
have been praying. The prayers will intensify. They are intensifying. I get this feeling that even those that have been, you know, migrated from their places to come to America, obviously to try and swing an election, are just going to wake up one morning and say, listen, we're not going to accept this. We're going to vote right.
You can hope that, and I love that. The Republicans shouldn't back on that. Please
No,
just
I
get
didn't
they
say they should back on it.
yeah.
I'm just saying, I feel like there's just going to be some strange turnaround in terms of whatever the Democrats have planned for so long. And people are just going to come to this rude awakening that, listen, we've seen this happen before, we're not going for it.
Frankly, people are. Frankly, if you noticed, like I said, the realignment in the United States is no longer a partisan realignment. It's an ideological realignment. So there are many registered Democrats that are going to vote Republican, and there are many registered Republicans, we've already seen even from the endorsement line, are going to vote this. All those are going to happen. Where these guys are banking is they've put in thousands and thousands of dollars per head for migrants in some beautiful hotels.
Yeah.
Those are the ones they're banking on. The people who don't...
Who can actually change?
No, they are not giving those people to vote for them. They are not asking them to vote. The wicked guys don't bank on that. They just, what is your name? They write it down. Don't worry about where to print. We'll print it for you.
Just
Okay,
like,
they've already voted them.
or just like they do in
They've already
Africa.
voted them.
All we need is your
By
name.
the time you cross the border and you are given an ID, you are voting.
You were voting.
It was a
actually.
mail-in vote that was actually
yes,
going.
we're not even asking you to vote. No, we just give us your name and that ID card we gave you the other day. Okay, fine. We're feeling for you. No, these guys, this is an industry. It's war.
Okay, so that
there's
means
no
in
room.
this case they've already got votes. They've got
No,
a number.
that's
They've got
the
a number
point. That's
already.
the point. They got the number. What the Republicans need to do is put line of defense. Number one, I know they're still having that battle in Maricopa County, in Arizona. That is where the rigging happens. Everybody knows that. That is where they will not be able to count it for 2 days. And the idea is it should be time-stamped. Time-stamps just means that we want to be sure this guy voted before the polls open, because that is only when you could do mail-in vote. You should vote before it opens. So time-stamp means that any vote after the time the mail opens should be illegal. But they don't want time-stamp. The court case is still going back and forth. It looks like one of them ruled in favor of the Democrats, who want no timestamp, no ID check, nothing. Just any card that feels stamped should go in. Put your line of defense. Have your observers. Observers should take receipts. So if it doesn't look right, take receipts. But you should also have your guys there going to legal citizens and harvesting. That's the word. And I use it so loosely because it sounds bad. But if some states allow it,
Do it.
don't stand idle. Just do it. You know, that is the only way you can at least say you tried.
Sure.
Then you hope for the best.
And in
but
fa-
you
in
don't
f-
sit down and say, I didn't do anything, but I'm hoping for
In
the
fact,
best.
it's your duty to actually do so. When you look at it, remember what the Bible actually says. It says, a lazy man does not actually go to harvesting during harvesting season. And then at the end of the day, he's in pain,
He
he's
says
in
there's a
hunger.
lion on the streets. There's a lion, and then he goes hungry.
And he goes hungry. That's exactly what is actually happening. You're looking at, if you look at the dynamics of their country, because it's no more about Republicans, Democrats.
It's not.
It's about godliness and ungodliness.
That's it.
And this affects almost everybody. And in
That's
that
it.
case, you have to play by active, like an active role like the church is actually doing. If you look at it, the church is praying actively as a stakeholder.
Yeah.
You know? You're looking at the so-called right, for a long period of time, they were more on the apologetic side to say, you know, we are right, we are good, we are wonderful, would actually, the enemy is not playing that kind of game today.
Yeah.
He doesn't, even look at it, the enemy does not even actually respect things like constitutions, documents. You can sign as many as you want to actually do.
Yep.
The devil will still actually be prancing out. If you look at, I'm just thinking of America and their history. For 100 years, the people still didn't have their so-called civil rights. I'm talking of the people of color. After the Emancipation Proclamation was actually given to say nobody should be a slave, they fought a war and the proclamation was actually given. They still had 100 years of the devil just running rampage in America and not giving them what they had been given already. It was on paper, it was not actually there in actuality. And I think when you look at the times that were in, they don't warrant anybody actually just going for empty arguments or empty debates to say you stole. So, and you don't put stop measures to say you can't steal from me today.
Yeah.
So let me give you a good example, and that, you know, Georgia is having elections. That think they're doing elections shortly, and I don't mean the U.S. state of Georgia. I mean the nation of Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
Good. They're having elections, and I want to show you how, because the question is, why should I pray for the U.S.? Why should I even think of it? But you can see how tightly these two elections are going to happen. Number one, the Americans are figuring out how we're going to turn the election in Georgia in our favor. And by that, they just want to replicate Ukraine in Georgia. Georgia, the country, south of Russia. So imagine if corruption just runs aloof and takes over everything in the United States, it will embolden corruption in Georgia, although the one happening in Georgia is going to come first. Are you getting it? But if the wicked is stopped at that level, or even pushed back, Georgia can truly be free. So I'm saying that to say, a Georgian who's praying for his nation, Father, I want Georgia to have peace, because the most important thing for Georgia today, frankly, it's not economy, it's peace. The Europe wants to have Ukraine in Georgia. I mean, you're hearing it now, so it doesn't feel like the user that says Russia is the aggressor. I'm telling you now, that's what they want to do. And when it happens, it's not Russia being the aggressor.
It's NATO actually.
And that is why the campaign, the ruling party is totally campaigning on peace. They're campaigning, I mean, 3 days ago, he ran that they're going to have a kind of summit and a kind of symposium between them and Russia over the region of Ossetia. They want to start doing trade.
Okay.
So that is what they're campaigning on. They're trying to campaign on, let's see, we're going to reapproach with the Russians. We are not fighting anybody. And this is the deceit. The opposition candidate is campaigning on peace and prosperity through European integration.
Okay.
What they are not telling the people is that we will when we do that, we will become Ukraine.
And they will actually...
So they are not telling them that it's going there. They're just saying it's peace, prosperity through EU integration. They didn't add the fact that military bases will come there.
We'll come to the
They
country,
didn't add
Shayman.
now. So what I'm saying is, so the other part of this is that all these trickeries in elections are now being engineered in Georgia. So one sure way for the one in Georgia to fail is if it starts failing in Europe, it starts failing in the US. Because when the wicked, when the deceiver runs unopposed, his victims will just increase, will only increase. So as a Georgian, I'm saying you watching from Georgia, you can pray for your nation, but you are staying that tide. You know, we talked about Nigeria on the first day, and we're like, you have to stay that tide that is really pouring in to engineer this. Because very soon if the evil one we had their way, they will want to make you blame the Georgian leaders. But I'm telling you, it's not the Georgian leaders now. It's the influence.
It's
and
the
they are coming here
influence, it's true.
through NGOs coming. If they succeed in one, they will apply to the other.
To the other,
So
yeah.
this is the Georgian situation, and this is happening right now.
And all this to just be, because of the aggression towards Russia, I
No,
suppose.
because of Russian aggression.
No, their aggression towards Russia, not Russian aggression, is the opposite way.
And thank God for the church, because the church actually understands what's exactly happening. Because when you look at the war in Russia and the war in Israel, I think we did see from the opening prophecy that we played there, it was something that was telegraphed.
Yeah.
it was telegraphed to say, you hit at this point and the reaction that is most likely going to come from Israel is this. And then it will spread the tinder box to everybody else and the fires will spread throughout the world. They also telegraphed when it comes to Russia and Ukraine to say, you just poke the bear enough. The bear will respond. When the bear responds, the whole of Europe would actually have to be polarized. They will either choose NATO or so that you have more goods that are cheaper and services that are cheaper for your citizens. Go for that.
Yeah.
If it's peace that you need so that you don't have unnecessary expenditures and budgets that are actually being turned from industries into weaponry, you should actually go for that. Unfortunately, you tend to actually have the so-called Europeans or those who like to actually be part of the EU as Europeans. They're buying into a lie that has everything else to do with the changes of the end times. And again, like you said, it's important for you to pray because
You have to